Hey guys, how's it going? So today what I'm going to kind of do for you is kind of go over into the mind of how we program our speed classes, the how and the why. So there's certain reasons why we do certain movements, and there's also certain reasons why we have our certain rest periods and our certain repetition periods, right? We always want our athletes to do everything with intent. So there's always reasons why we program the speed class. So I'm going to go over that for you guys today. All right, how we should think of speed training, right? There's many different variables of speed training. One of the things is we want to think minimal effective dose, right? We don't want to go, hard all the time. More is not always better when it comes to these speed classes, all right? Reason being is it's not just conditioning, right? We're not just running to means no end. When we're working on sprinting, whether it be linear or lateral acceleration, our athletes need some time to rest in between everything, right? We don't want to just beat them up. They shouldn't be huffing and puffing. They should be able to produce a lot of force in all those movements, all right? And speed training is also just more than running around cones, okay? You see a lot of just like fancy cone drills. Coach tells you which direction to do, but gives you no reasoning why behind anything. So those are three things. We want minimal effective dose. We don't want a lot, okay? More is less when it comes to these movements. They're high-speed movements for the most part. We can't do them repeatedly and keep getting better. It's not conditioning, okay? So you shouldn't be huffing and puffing. Our heart rate shouldn't be through the roof for an hour. And we're working on technique. We're teaching our athletes how to move. Right? So we shouldn't look like this, okay? After a speed session, we shouldn't look like this. Now, in some of my sessions, sometimes that does happen if we start turning up the intensity a little bit, but this is going to happen towards the end of it, okay? But this should not be the goal of every speed class, to have your athletes be exhausted, on the floor, dying. Anyone can make a workout hard, but not everyone can actually make the workout efficient. All right, so what we should be looking to do. We're looking to improve movement. We're looking to teach our athletes actually how to move, how to take all the strength they have from the weight room and use it on the field, right? You see a lot of times where an athlete can be the strongest person in the world, but as soon as they get on the field, they can't do anything, okay? So we're teaching our athletes how to move throughout these speed classes. We're teaching them actually to use their strength, where to place everything, where to place their feet, what to do when they have to cut. There's a lot of different things you have to do with your athletes. There's a lot of different things that happen inside of a game. We have to make sure that we're teaching them how to do that, all right? We're looking to increase their strength and power, okay? Whether it be through jump training, whether it be through sprint training. That should be the goal. We should be looking to increase our strength, increase our power. We can't do that with crazy run for 10 seconds, rest for 5 seconds, and repeat. That's not going to do anything, okay? That's towards the end when, there's going to be conditioning towards the end of the day, but not when you're teaching that speed class for whether you're working with the kids for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half an hour. You have to be smarter with the sessions. The overall arching goal of training any athlete or any human being is we want to make them more resilient to injury, right? We want to keep them healthy as possible. We don't want to have them be hurt all the time, and they especially should not be getting hurt in your sessions. So when your athletes are gassed, that's when you kind of slow it down a little bit. Take your time. There's no rush of these things, right? Going back to minimal effective dose, if you're overdoing it, that's when your athlete's going to start getting hurt, and we want to avoid that as much as possible. Okay? How we help our athletes improve. Okay? We need to help them improve. That's what our job is here. That's what we're here to do. Teach them. Teach them. It's one of the most important things. If your athletes don't understand the why behind anything, they're never going to really apply it. Okay? They're just going to go through the motions. When you teach them the why, it's going to be a little more efficient for them. So again, teach them how to move. Teach them the foot placement. Teach them how to jump. Teach them how to land. There's a lot of different things you're going to have to do with them. Okay? Teach. It's the number one overarching thing you're going to have to do. Give them more rest, okay? Don't just push them to the absolute limit when you're working on a specific skill, okay? If you want to condition them or you want to punish them, sure, go for it, but don't call it speed training. Speed training, more rest. It's going to be more beneficial to your athletes because then they're going to be able to perform those high-speed movements with greater intent, okay? They can't provide a lot of intent when they're, hands on the knees and gassed. And practice, okay? These movements need to be practiced all the time. Okay, that's the main focus, is we're trying to introduce plenty of movements to our athletes so they can practice them. Okay, a lot of different things happen in a game. We want to make sure they're introduced to as many stimuluses as possible. Change out the movements, but do it smart. Okay, don't just find something cool on YouTube and start using it. Practice them. Let your athletes practice those movements. Give them some reps. All right, this is kind of how we outline our program. Okay, so how a class is going to work is we're going to warm them up. Whether it's first thing we're going to do is activation warm-ups. I get a lot of crap from my athletes because it's just like, all right, grab the mini bands. We want to turn the glutes on, right? We're going to turn the glutes on. We're going to turn the core on. So we're going to do that through planks, glute bridges, mini band walks, maybe some hand walks, plenty of different things we could do to activate the core and the glutes. Then we're going to take them through a dynamic movement. They have to be prepared for this, all right? It's your lunges, your knee hugs, your skips, your marches, your jogs, your low-level sprinting, your landing mechanics. That's all going to be included in that dynamic movement. Then from there, we go to power, right? We want to start priming that central nervous system, getting ready to go. With us, we focus on a lot of landings. Okay, we want to teach our athletes how to land, teach them how to absorb force. Because the more force they can absorb, the more force they're going to be able to produce. Okay, also med ball throws. Our athletes, a lot of them never get their hips doing a lot of movements. The med balls are a great way to just let them teach that, right? They're low impact too, so to teach your athletes how to throw a med ball, you're really going to increase their power. Especially sports are rotational. It's a great way to get rotational power in. Movement technique, that's going to be your wall drills, your hurdle drills, right? Your wall posture drill. There's plenty of different drills you can do that are going to teach your athletes better positioning. So that movement technique portion is to let them almost like rehearse the movements. We slow it down, we put them in the right position, and we let them move. The hurdle drills are great for lateral cutting because it's actually going to teach them how to apply force and get back the other way. I really like using hurdle drills for our lateral movement or even like through our dead leg variations and stuff like that. From there, then we go movement skill. Right now we're actually going to apply that technique we just learned. We're going to learn to shuffle and cut, maybe with a band around our waist, maybe holding the med ball, maybe just reacting to a partner, reacting to a coach. Sled sprints, right? We're going to just sprint with the sled. We'll sprint with a band around our waist. Now we actually have to apply that technique and start moving, okay? I love the movement technique, but a lot of times it doesn't translate for our athletes to do stuff. That's where the movement skill comes into place. We now actually have to practice that rehearsed movement. And then after we've worked on the skill, that's when we start getting into some sort of reactive movements or gameplay, all right? So we like to use the mirror drills. Make your athlete keep up with a partner, okay? You're going to see what the reactive drills too is also, it's going to teach you what you need to work on next. So you can use them in the beginning or the end of a session. I prefer to use them at the end. I've found success with it, but it gives me something to look for, so now I know what to teach next time, right? I know what to work on with that athlete next time. Now they get to actually apply that movement. So a lot of times you're going to see an athlete, perfect, right? He sprints with the sled, great. Anytime he's in a band, all his movements are perfect. He gets on the field, he collapses. Can't do it. That's why we introduced a lot of the reactive and the gameplay towards the end. Chase games, right? Reacting to your partner, just sprinting, either trying to get away or trying to tag the person. Very simple. You can do those anywhere. And then every now and then we'll throw some team handball at them. Let them actually just start moving around. Let them having some fun. Because for the most part, we deal with a lot of one-sport athletes. So we need multi-sport athletes. So just letting them play games is going to help just improve that athleticism and overall make them a better athlete. That's always the goal too with these speed sessions. All right. What to look for with your athletes, okay? Whenever they're doing any of these movements, you want them to be in control. Whether it's a med ball throw, whether it's a jump, or whether it's a sprint, they need to be in some sort of control. When they're not in control, that's when we start getting hurt. All right? Another thing we're going to look for is intent, right? Whatever movement you want them to do, once you start getting towards the power and the movement skill, they got to do it with some sort of intent, right? Intent. You want to make sure they're throwing the ball as hard as they can. You want to make sure every time they jump, they're trying to jump and touch the ceiling. All the movements have to be done with some sort of intent, all right? So when they're trying to develop power, we need to throw the ball as hard as we can. We can't just lollipop the ball at the wall. We need to actually throw it with a little bit of force. Same thing when we're sprinting, intent. I have a video right here. Nice overhead med ball slam into the wall. He's rearing back and throwing that thing as hard as you can. As you notice, he is in control though. Let me just go back. All right, so he is in control. The whole time, he's not all over the place, keeps a good neutral core, neutral spine, braced core. Same thing here. They're in control when they throw that ball, and they're also trying to put a hole into that wall every time. Easy cue. Put a hole in the wall. Put a hole in the ground, touch the ceiling. Easy cues to make sure your athletes are trying to create as much force as they can. All right? Couple final thoughts. Speed can be taught and it can be improved. All right, it's another thing where you can make someone a little bit better of a basketball player by practice. Speed's the same thing. Making sure they're practicing movements, getting stronger is going to allow them to get a little faster. With proper rest periods, athletes can do everything with more intent. Right, so when I do the med ball throws, they have 20-25 seconds between the next throw. It's a 3-second activity, so they have plenty of time to rest and recover to make sure that they can throw the ball as hard as they can the next time. And if they start feeling like a little fatigued, then they'll take even longer to rest. That's fine, because that set was 5 throws. That 5 throws can take 3 minutes. Okay, I want them to throw that ball as hard as they can every time. It's the same thing with the jumps, right? We want them to improve their ability to produce more force, and they're going to do that by resting a little more. Also, we need to teach our athletes how to use their bodies, all right? So the more they can use their bodies, the more different positions you put them in, the more situations you're going to put in. They're going to understand their body. What's going to happen is your athletes are going to grow. They're going to get stronger. You're always going to need to reteach a lot of things, especially working with like middle school to high school athletes. They grow, they put on some more weight. Now they got a lot more force that they don't know what to do with. That's where our speed classes have found a lot of success, because we do put 5-10 pounds of muscle on a kid in an off season, and now he's got all this added mass. He doesn't know what to do with it. That's where the speed classes come into play. Teach them how to use their bodies. Put them into different situations. And with greater power comes greater responsibility, right? You can jump through the ceiling, but what happens when you can't control it? What happens when you can't land? That's when we're going to get hurt, okay? That's why we always go back to a lot of landing mechanics. For some things, we're going to slow it down and make sure they understand the position, but it's always reinforcing good deceleration mechanics, right? Being able to absorb a landing, being able to absorb a cut. They need to be able to do that stuff. All right, guys, so that's quickly pretty much like how our speed program works and how we're actually going to implement that throughout the day and throughout the week. If you want any more information, if you want some exercises, or if you know you might be interested in training, you're going to head over to athleticmovementprotocol.com. All right, we have a bunch of stuff up there. Also, you can head on over to coachkyleanderson.com. I'm going to start putting up a little more videos. I'm going to start putting up a little more educational pieces myself. If you want any exercises, I have plenty of speed tips that I did for the past year over at Coach Kyle Anderson on Instagram, right? Plenty of exercises there using this presentation, understanding how to actually program everything. That's where everything's going to come into play. And then also you can head over to @amp_athlete.com for any more information you're looking for. Guys, we're trying to promote a lot of educational pieces here, so please be on the lookout. Thank you for stopping by, and have a good day.